Cupertino Senior TV Productions, in cooperation with the Cupertino-Sunnyvale chapter of the League of Women Voters, proudly presents the pros and the cons on the statewide propositions appearing on the ballot for the November 2nd election.
So what about Proposition 26?
Now, Proposition 26 is over on the revenue side of state finance. Currently, it takes a two-thirds vote of the legislature to raise taxes, but only a majority vote to raise fees. Proposition 26 broadens the definition of tax so that some fees that are spent for the benefit of a large population, not just the fee-paying group, those fees would require a two-thirds vote to raise or to create. Fees that are spent for the benefit of the fee payers would continue to need only a simple majority. So the classic example of the kind of fee affected by Proposition 26 is the regulatory fee paid by companies that make products containing lead. The money's spent to combat lead poisoning in children, so it benefits the public in general rather than the businesses paying the fee. But the California Supreme Court has ruled that, nevertheless, this is a fee, not a tax, under current law. Energy companies and makers of alcoholic beverages pay similar fees that are used to mitigate possible harm done by their products. If Proposition 26 passes, fees of this type will then need a two-thirds vote to be enacted. Proposition 26 also changes the definition of raising state revenues. Currently, if a proposed law has no net effect on state revenue, it can be passed by a majority vote in the legislature. Under the terms of Proposition 26, if even one taxpayer will pay more as the result of the proposed law, even if total revenue coming into the state will be the same or lower, it would need a two-thirds majority to pass. So, as a result, any change in where the tax burden falls would only be able to be adopted by a two-thirds vote. Proposition 26, if it passes, also takes effect retroactively. So any regulatory fees passed or shifts in tax burden made since the beginning of 2010 would be nullified unless they were passed again, this time with a two-thirds majority. One likely consequence of this would be to shift about $1.3 billion annually from the general fund back to transportation funds by nullifying a recent fuel tax change that allowed that money to be used more flexibly. Who do we see supporting and opposing 26?
Well, in favor of 26, you have the California Taxpayers Association, the California Chamber of Commerce, and the Small Business Action Committee, among others, with funding coming from the California Chamber of Commerce and energy and beverage companies. They say that fees are just taxes by any other name, and they should be hard to pass. Environmental groups, the League of Women Voters of California, and the California Association of Professional Scientists are opposing 26, with funding primarily coming from unions. They say that regulatory fees are spent to mitigate harm done by some businesses, and it's right that these businesses should pay the fees to clean up their messes.